recovery is not this destination. It's never has been. But recovery is not even recovery because it's not really a disease in the first place. All right. Hey, everyone, and welcome to today's episode. Today, I want to just draw from a comment written into us by one of the viewers of the show, and they made a request for a specific episode. So I thought it was a great idea, and I just wanted to make the episode today. So the question was essentially about transcending the idea of victim consciousness when it comes to OCD and anxiety, and how that plays into healing. So let's go ahead and talk about it. One of the things that I've learned about this whole idea of recovery is that we have to really begin to shift the paradigm that we are holding if we're in a current state and we're perpetuating something in our life. And this literally goes for any aspect of your life: financially, health, relationships. Obviously mental health is part of health, and emotional health and spiritual health and all of that. So I'm, kind of lumping it in there. But I mean, really, like anything you want to change about your life, if you are in a state where you're not where you want to be and you want to get to a different place, you're going to have to adopt a different framework, different viewpoint, different set of beliefs, different paradigm, different behaviors, different everything, a whole different identity to become the person that you want to become. It doesn't happen to where that happens first and then you adopt that way of thinking. The shift must come internally first. This is what people in the work of, consciousness talk about. And obviously I'm a huge proponent of consciousness, understanding consciousness, the integration of consciousness into everything. In fact, if I had like one identity that I would really embody, it's not anything about being a coach or therapist or anxiety or anything like that. It's actually that I'm a student of consciousness, that I'm a researcher of consciousness, that this is like, it's what I believe to be the ultimate reality, is consciousness first, and then everything that is held within that has a certain direction that it takes. So when we understand ourselves as consciousness, when we take this idea of victim consciousness, we are positioning ourselves as a victim to circumstance, as opposed to owning our power in the ability to manifest circumstance. And the way that we manifest circumstance is from the inward outward. So to take this as a more, let's take a different example than OCD and anxiety. See, a lot of times we see problems in the world and we see them from these planes of external to the internal. So let's say someone doesn't have a lot of money right now and they see themselves in this plane of I'm poor, or I am low socioeconomic status, or I'm homeless, right? They take on this identity and they think that the identity is caused externally, that there's this external cause that happened to them to create this. And if they think that way, the problem is they'll own the identity, and because it's external, they're going to wait for external circumstances to change, and then from there, hope that their internal state change. And that's the trap. That's the prison that people get caught in, is a constant self-perpetuation of a state of consciousness to circumstance, which reinforces a state of consciousness, which reinforces a circumstance. And so if someone maintains the state of I'm undateable or I'm unlovable, no one loves me, and they're waiting for someone out there to love them, and they're just sitting in their home like, someday hopefully someone comes and loves me so it makes me lovable. The thing is, the person needs to shift to the point to where they're lovable before anyone will ever really love them. Because if they constantly believe that, they're going to communicate that and off-put that so that they actually don't get in relationships. And this is what I mean, where it works in a self-perpetuating way. Same with fear. See, the way that you actually make change, let's go for the first example I used with the idea of a person, let's say, that was homeless. Instead of using the fact that they are currently homeless as evidence that that's who they are, what they need to adopt is like, okay, look, this happened in my life. And whether they want to take ownership from up to that point, they can. But, if that's too painful for them, or if they don't want to, or they really are the belief that something happened to them that caused this, okay, great. At the end of the day, we still need to acknowledge where we are, and we need to get to the place that we want to get to. And in order to do that, we can't keep seeing ourselves the way we're seeing ourselves. I'm not really going to go into the past stuff. I mean, I really do believe in the idea of owning your past and owning any decision, whether it was conscious or not, that potentially led, to where you are. I think it's actually more powerful to do that, because then you really claim agency over your life. There are obviously things that happen in your life, but that are beyond what you do. But I really just believe in taking responsibility for your life. So with that, the person would have to first see themselves as someone who could get a home. And what the ascension might be like, okay, first, instead of just sitting there and doing nothing all day, I'm gonna figure out a way that I can trade to make an income. Now that might be, I'm gonna go and just clean, a building at night, right? And maybe that when I clean the building at night, then from there, what happens is I have a place that I can stay during the night, right? So I can work during the night, sleep during the day. And maybe the first thing they do is get a gym membership so they can go take a shower every day. And then maybe they're able to get some clothes at Goodwill that are nice clothes that they can present, and then they can get a different job. And then as income comes in, they can start renting a certain room somewhere and eventually ascend to the place where they actually own a home. And they can do all that by shifting the way that they view themselves. And as they shift the way they view themselves, is like, no, I'm someone that can contribute to, I can make income, to now I have income, to now I can save income, to now I can grow and grow and grow and grow. That's the same way that we need to look at anything when it comes to our health. If we're physically unhealthy, we have to own whatever took place to get us to the state where we're physically unhealthy. Now, we can't constantly tell ourselves that, well, I'm physically unhealthy and that's why it's hard for me to work out, or that's why it's hard for me to diet, because we end up using the identity as a way to self-sustain the very state that we're in. So what we have to do is we have to see ourselves as how we want to see ourselves, as the version of ourselves that we actually want to be and aspire to transform to. Because when you understand consciousness is ever changing, and the only thing that perpetuates a certain reality is a certain state of consciousness. Once you change your consciousness, you begin to change your reality. And reality follows consciousness is maybe a better way to say that. So someone who wants to be in a relationship, first they need to see themselves as someone who's lovable. If they see themselves as someone who's lovable, they begin to take better care of themselves. Maybe they shower and bathe differently. Maybe they present differently when they come out into public. They dress better, right? They walk taller, they smile more, they, all of this stuff. So once you see yourself as lovable, now interestingly enough, in that state, they're going to be much more attractive to people that they're wanting to get in relationships with, So when it comes to OCD, anxiety, and this loop that we can get caught in fear, what we have to understand is when we're stuck in a certain state of consciousness, fear being this, we don't see it in the terms of the Newtonian linear recovery path. We have to let that go. See, what I've come to believe more and more is that OCD, quote, recovery, and obviously I've used this terminology in the past, but I'm beginning to move more and more away from it in just when I work with people, because what I'm beginning to realize as I just kind of expand and constantly correct and evolve my own thinking is that recovery is not this destination. It never has been, but recovery is not even recovery because it's not really a disease in the first place. See, when we see these emotional states that we're stuck in and these thought patterns that we're experiencing, these thought patterns are happening automatically as a result of being in this state. So what's keeping us in this state? And it's our own relationship to emotion. See, when we're very resistant to feeling emotion, we get stuck in it. And then when we get stuck in it, we feel the same way consistently because what we resist persists. And then more importantly, our mind is going to be reacting to the emotional state and creating thought patterns that are aligned with that particular state. So recovery is about first seeing I don't have a disease. This is where the first thing that we have to do with OCD and anxiety is stop telling ourselves that we have this disease and sickness. It's a state of consciousness that's being perpetuated. Fear, right? Fear is a normal thing. The abnormal part about it is that we're getting stuck in it, and we're getting stuck in it because of our resistance to it. So once you begin to understand that idea, when it comes to transcending the whole idea of a victim consciousness, is you start to own your role in this. And as you start to change your role in the way you're seeing yourself, and as you start to say, you know what, I'm someone who actually can conquer and transcend fear. I'm someone who's worth doing this work so that I can live in a state that I actually want to live in. And I can start to change my relationship to my emotion. I can start to understand consciousness. I can learn from people. I can actually get guidance from people that have already done this. Instead of I'm right about what I think and I know this is the way it is and what I see is the only reality that actually exists. And if you maintain your state and you defend your state, you're going to keep perpetuating that exact state. And so in order to transcend victim consciousness or any kind of victimhood mindset, we have to own our role in our reality. Now, there might be things outside of your control, for sure. I'm not saying that, but we have to own whatever our role is and whatever we're doing to perpetuate it. Once we own that, it's not about seeing recovery in a linear format of cause and effect. I don't want you to think in terms of, if I do this technique, I'm going to get rid of these symptoms that I don't like, because that's not actually what this process is. This process is an ascension of consciousness. It's not linear, it's spectral. And what moving into higher planes of consciousness actually does is it allows you to see things entirely different. And that opening up of the eyes, opening up of the state of consciousness, your expression of consciousness, is what then allows an entirely different reality to unfold beyond that. And that's what I believe. That's what we walk people through in TBC. That's what we talk about, because as long as you're coming into this from, I have this disease and I'm a victim of this disease and this isn't my fault in any way, and I need to implement a tool and I'm going to try it out, and if it doesn't do exactly what I want, then I'm going to quit, and I'm going to, it's like all that mindset is the issue. This is about really seeing this from an entirely different paradigm. And I'm trying to explain it, because I've been in that paradigm. I've been in that viewpoint, by the way. Full transparency. I have thought that way before in my life. And I'm trying to articulate what has allowed me to navigate this path, to be able to experience life in a way that I couldn't even have fathomed was possible in those lower states that I was once in. And even though you might understand this or hear this intellectually, maybe it causes a real negative reaction within you, and that's okay. Just pay attention to that. Just understand, what's going on within me that really is causing this reaction, because maybe it's kind of surfacing something that maybe you don't want to look at, right? But this is what it involves. It involves taking responsibility. It involves holding yourself into an integrous position. It involves seeing yourself as someone worth working on, seeing yourself as someone worth developing, and seeing reality as merely a reflection of your state of consciousness, understanding consciousness is the central reality, and working from your state of consciousness. That means seeing yourself differently. It means holding a different vision of yourself than what may currently presently be happening, and allowing that to become your dominant reality, to where that just simply begins to reflect in your life. And that's what transcending victim consciousness is. That's what the quote healing process is. And the irony is that once you get to the other side of this, you're going to see that there was actually nothing to quote recover from, because it was the resistance itself that was the issue, not what you were resisting. So hope this was helpful. And with that, we have some great resources to expand upon this over at restoredminds.com and down in the links. So please check those out. With that, thank you, and hope and wish you all a great week, and look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Hey there, this is Matt Codde, and I just want to say thank you for taking the time to watch that episode. And if you found it helpful, we have some other episodes available for you as well that we've linked here. And if you're looking for additional resources, I have links down in the notes, or you can head over to restoredminds.com/start to get started with some new free resources that we have available. Thanks so much and look forward to seeing you soon.